Cut my thumb earlier on accident. I haven't done a vlog in a while. I want to see my doctor. I don't have as many voices. They've kind of tamed down. But I got this sense of feeling stuck. Like I'm not making as much progress as I'd like to be making. And I feel like something's blocking me. And I don't know why. And I've felt that way on and off through my life. At times, there's been something blocking me, preventing me from doing something good. And I know it can't be that way forever. But when it happens, it kind of sucks. And I'm as happy as I can be, I guess, for being bipolar. I've had a pretty good day. I got people that care about me. I got a lot of people I care about. And I'm hoping to find something that is going to make me lucrative as in money. Because I don't have as much money as I'd like. I got various ideas, various investments I think I'm going to try to make. But, the easy advice would be go get a job. But I'm unable to do that. I've been looking. I was thinking maybe Dollar General or DoorDash. But see, I want to get rich. I don't mean just like enough money to get a case of beer every Friday or whatever. I mean, I want to get rich so I can help others. Legitimately help in a way. But I know even the smallest things help sometimes. If you give a homeless person $10, it can really shape their reality a lot better. But I would like to be rich enough to where I never have that feeling of I need more money. I think some are like that. But I'm not like that yet. I know some think money's only evil. Because you can do a lot of evil shit with money. But, I don't think money's always evil. And I don't think it's always donation of charities where it's beneficial. I mean, if you buy a CD you like, for example, you get to hear that CD. You buy food, you get to eat. And I believe there are societies that I don't have access to. I think there's some that never use money. But I think eventually at some point they'll use money, but not in their society. It's like some of the Amish don't use machines, you know what I mean? But eventually that Amish man's he'd have to step completely out of his society and become someone totally different to use machines. But my point is, I think everything's going to get shared at some point. And I think that's a good thing. Because I should be able to do anything to an extent, certain things. I know there's certain things that some will do that others won't. For instance, like marriage. Like if you are legitimately married to one person and they're married to you, then I don't think you should share your mate. But any other examples, I think it should be free game. I think you should be able to pick up any toy and play with it, basically. I think there's generally wellness. I think things are generally getting better, but I don't think they're best. And I think for everything, and I know that word's always confusing to some, but I think some legitimately have it best. They never have any bad days. And evil never confronts them in the way it confronts me. Like, I have to make choices sometimes of doing the right thing and be tempted by whatever evil would have provided me. And I think some never get tempted like that. Evil can't touch them. And there's a lot of beliefs, and what's right and what's wrong. But I think those that have it best legitimately have it best. They don't suffer. They don't get sad. Because there's no way everybody has depression. And there's no way everybody will ever have depression. Because there's some that never get depressed. And depression is no good. There's no benefit to it. I know some, they look at their struggles and they're like, I've made it that far. I survived it. But I'm like, you're looking at something that wasn't beneficial. You should have never been depressed, And I mean, I can understand bragging getting through it, but not really when you think about it, because you shouldn't be bragging about being something having you depressed. But sometimes we just brag about things they're not meant to brag about, because it's like it just repeats in my head so often every day. I know suffering's not forever. There's going to be a moment when there is no suffering. And I think that's really, like, anything that's hate would be considered suffering. And hate isn't forever. But that quote will pop in my head, that haters always hate. But that can't be forever. And I think the majority are nice and kind. And they never have any problems. But that doesn't mean everything's fixed yet. I don't think we're going to lose anybody. I see people going on, and I used to be the same way when I was too heavily into Christianity. And I'm not saying Christianity is always evil, but I'm saying there's parts of it that are only evil. If, for instance, if your neighbor doesn't believe in Jesus and you think he's going to hell to be punished forever, there's no way that would ever pan out. You know what I mean? But I've been there. I've wanted people damned because I felt self-righteous and believing in God, and I thought if you didn't believe in God, you're only evil. But thankfully, I've grown. And earlier, they were like, blessed our Lord, amen, and stuff like that. And I was just like, I can't ever see there being one Lord taking over everything, because that just doesn't seem possible. And that might offend people. I'm not going to say it probably did, but it might have. Because you believe in God so much that you don't know there's alternatives. Like, some believe the only way to heaven is Jesus, and that can't be it. Favoritism is mean. You should never have a favorite caller. That's not fair to the other callers. And some get stuck in favoritism, but it's something that's not forever, and I think it's a flaw. Because when I grew up, my dad would sometimes say that my brother was his favorite kid, because that's what happened to him when he grew up. They would sometimes say that his sister was a favorite kid, and actually mean it, which it's a flaw we have in our family that I'm trying to fix. And sometimes we'll have favorites, like you can rank your favorites on certain playlists or online somewhere, but favoritism is just no good, because you don't look at anything and say love is always better than hate. But you don't look at anything and claim it's the favorite. I think that's one of the flaws in my Call of Duty game, because they have most valuable player. You can never actually determine that. And if you're MVP, it's not fair to all the team. It doesn't make sense. But the point I was trying to make is there used to be a lot of fights, because my mom would love me more than my brother at times, because I would be behaving better. And it was like a split right down the middle. It was either you were either on my dad's side or my mom's side. And then my brother was on my dad's side, and I would have to be on my mom's side. And that's kind of how it went. And then we split locations. Like, my brother stayed with my dad in an apartment. I stayed with my mom here. And, if you've ever had a sibling like that, it starts becoming that way. Like, they're on that parent's side all the time. And it's no good, is my point. And I can't think all war is evil, because I really do love Call of Duty and Hearthstone and games where it's about battling for heart points. Because I think that you're not really trying to hurt anything, I'm not. Like, when I play Call of Duty, it's fun because I can shoot things, and I don't think murder's always evil. I don't think killing's always evil. And I've been where I was vegan, and I believed anytime you killed an animal, it was absolutely evil. But I can't believe that anymore. Dying doesn't always suck. And then I think about the games I mostly watch, like Mario. I love watching DGR and all the other ones I watch. And it's fun watching death traps. I mean, it really is. Because death doesn't always mean. But I think coding Mario where he goes, oh, in pain, I think there's something wrong with that. Because what if he's actually in that pain, And then some say Damascus or Mascus or whatever they call themselves, or whatever it's meant to be called. Like, Some really enjoy pain, but I don't think it's when it hurts. Because you can't actually enjoy hurt, because you can't enjoy hate. But I have had some pain that I gotta say didn't hurt me, you know? You know? I'm thinking physical pain, you know? And it didn't hurt, it tickled. But I knew it was pain. Like, because pain shouldn't hurt, you know? And you shouldn't have emotional pain. I don't think all emotional pain's mean, but maybe it is. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong thinking pain has a purpose. I don't mean in it hurting, because, like, sometimes when you say ow, the pain goes away, right? And it's like the pain knows not to hurt you. But if you were made in pain, you know, you still deserve a chance. That's my point. And I don't really think pain's going to be forever, because I'm taking back that thought. You should never be in pain. Nothing should ever feel pain. I think the ones that know what they know, like legitimately know, they never get confused like I just did. And I don't mean harm on anything. I really don't. And I may have hardened things, but there's sometimes I really believe I got a clean slate, and a legitimate one. And if something comes along and confuses me into thinking I did something I never did, and now I'm questioning if I have a clean slate, and I hope I do. And I know forgiveness isn't the only answer, but forgiveness isn't forever, you know? Like, the words "I'm sorry" are temporary, I think. And I think there are certain phrases that are only temporary and only supposed to be used when absolutely necessary. Like saying sorry to someone. You can't say sorry forever. But these little spirits get confused sometimes, thinking, you know, they're going to be addicted forever to saying sorry. Because some people get addicted to saying sorry. You know, they'll intentionally fuck up just so they can say sorry. You know, because they're addicted to something they're not meant to be addicted to. And I don't think addiction's ever good. You know, I don't think calling yourself a drug addict is beneficial unless you're actually in active addiction. Like, that's the only time I think you should call yourself a drug addict. And the thing about it is, you know, I understand drugs can run people's lives in the way it is now, but I can't actually believe there would be anything that would be sober forever. Because when do you get sober is when you need to, right? If you're able to. And that's the thing. It's like whatever drug or whatever you're addicted to, if you suffer from addiction, you quit that process because you're trying to rewire the behavior in a way that isn't detrimental to anything. Because there's some that can do drugs and they party and they party and they party and they party and it just doesn't hurt anything. And I know that's really hard to believe if you're an addict, because you might think drugs are only evil, but they can't be just evil. Well, the point I'm trying to make is recovery, I think, is temporary. I don't think you can ever take a drunk, and I don't mean, hold on, let me try to say this. One, I don't believe everybody that takes a drink becomes a drunk, because there's a lot of successful drunks that don't have problems drinking. But that's just an example. The point I was trying to make is I don't think you could ever take a drunk and it be sober forever. That doesn't make any sense, because you'd be denying something you love forever. So, like, I think sobriety is to help those that are addicted, because those that don't have problems with addiction at all can do things like gambling and drugs or whatever it be, you know, and they don't have any problems and they don't hurt anything when they do it. I've heard people say I'm a recovered drunk. I haven't drank in 10 years, stuff like that. And I'm like, how is that beneficial though? You know, because if you're not drinking and you're used to drinking, you might be missing out on opportunities. Who knows? But my doctor I talked with, I took a drug test and I failed for the metabolite THC, which is commonly found in cannabis and hemp. And we have these legal hemp vaporizers, but she wouldn't listen. She was like, it's cannabis and it's illegal because it's THC, and THC is federally illegal. And I said, it's not that, but she wouldn't listen. And like, their test isn't smart enough to tell, because it's tests for THC, you know? And now she's like, if you want to keep your ADD medication, which I do, I can't have those pens anymore. And it's legal, you know, but it's like the first time I ever went to jail. I had legal chemicals, paperwork and all, and I still hauled my ass off to jail for 6 months. because they didn't want to believe and their reagent test wasn't right. And I told them that, and I tried to get, I know I'm bitching, but I got to get it out. I mean, that was 6 months of my life. They didn't do a lab test at all. And plus, there was like 400 or 500 hits of psychedelics, on blotter tabs. All legal substances at the time, mind you that. And they wrote my charge up as like 18 hits of LSD. They took so much of my fucking drugs. So many of them. But they were legal at the time. But that's beside the point. But it really sucked. We ended up going to jail, me and my ex-fiance, and it really sucked. One of the hardest things was not being able to cuddle. That's what got me. Because I got so used to it. Like, every night she cuddled with me. And then I didn't have that in jail. It was a hard wake-up call. Which some things I learned in jail was beneficial, And I don't think jail's forever. Because I don't think crime's forever. But it doesn't mean I think every crime's evil, though. Because I am an anarchist in ways. I think you should be able to do drugs if you're not hurting anything. I think the only time something should take drugs away from you is when you're hurting something or hurting somebody, or, when it's actually a problem. It's like fruit. Some don't see anything wrong with fruit juice, right? But fruit juice is a drug to some. Well, the point I'm trying to make is I should have never went to jail. But I did learn things in jail that still benefit me, like ways to cook soups and, and sometimes I'll trick myself into thinking I am in jail. I'll make a really bland meal to remind me that I do not want to go to jail. Because jail, I can't say it's not always fun, but, I want the freedom. That's what I want. Real freedom. Because, it's like we got to unlock our privileges, you know what I mean? And I think some start just wide open, they're never hindered. They never have any shortcomings, It's like, I'm not that way yet. I still have to deal with guilt, depression, anger, sadness, frustration. I guess that's more anger, but what I'm saying is I think this recording I'm going to look back at some point. It's going to be totally fucking different. It's not going to be about me bitching.